Welcome to Apéritif. 15 minutes with a specialty cocktail, a delicious nibble, and an iOS app dev lesson. This week, Flying Start presents Control Flow in Swift, and we'll be enjoying dates and bacon along with Sangria. Hi, my name is Karen Burns, and I'm the founder of Flying Start. Thanks so much for joining me again for this week's episode of Apéritif. So I'm really excited to have you here. This is our 4th week already, and our viewership is huge. Not really. So this is what I'd like you to do. If you can, if you're learning from these videos and you like these videos, please retweet them if you're on Twitter, share them on Facebook, like them, share them on Instagram. Do what you can to help me out because I really want you to learn how to code, and I really want people to watch these videos. All right. So this week we have a really good week because the sun's out, and I thought, wow, it just feels so bright and sunny, although we're still stuck at home under the shelter-in-place order for a few more weeks, which we think is going to extend a little bit longer, but we want to talk about that. So anyway, I was thinking to myself about what I really miss about being out in public and things, and I love traveling. And one of the places my husband and I have always talked about going, and neither of us have gone, is Spain. So we love tapas, we love sangria. So this week I decided to have a little bit of a Spanish influence, and I have made a tapas, and this tapas is dates wrapped in bacon. They're really good, like so good that you're going to eat them like crazy. But they're super easy. So that's the good thing about it. So then we also have sangria, which I absolutely love. I love red sangria. You can make sangria a bunch of different ways, but I made it red and I put a little gin in it because I have all that gin left over from last week, that beef eater. So I put a little gin in it, a little triple sec, and some fruit. And it's really good. And it's really great for a nice spring weather. And it's kind of easy. So we need something easy and something flavorful and something comforting, because this week in Swift, we're going to be learning about control flow. Now, control flow is how, when you write your code, how you write it so that something happens based upon the result of something else. So let's say something happens. If this happens, then this will happen. So we use things like conditionals. We are going to talk about a whole new set of operators this week. We talked about operators last week, but these operators are called logical operators, and they help with the way your code runs. So I'm really excited to have you here. Thanks for joining me. One of the things I also want to talk about that I didn't mention since the first week is actual app development. So right now you're learning how to code with me. So we are learning how to code, and there has to be an end though to this, right? Like, you're just not learning how to code just for fun. You should be learning how to code because maybe you're thinking about having an app or making an app or something. So I always find that when I'm thinking about designing a new app, it's always helpful to think about it from the standpoint of how this can help our community. And of course, this is something that Flying Start is a big believer in, and we really think about this a lot, is how can we help our community? How can what we are doing impact our community in a positive way? So what I'd like you to be doing is thinking about making an app, or perhaps you already have an idea, making an app and how this is going to help your community, especially during times like this right now. We really need to kind of be more focused on things outside of ourselves. So when I teach code as well to kids. So when in my last coding class, which ended in March, the very beginning of March, the project we were working on was we were creating an app that was going to list all of the after-school activities in our area. And so parents could use it to sign up and to help their kids get involved in different activities. So we had like sports and coding and different things like that. So we didn't finish the app, but I'm still working on it. We're still going to work on it together next time we meet, next time we have a coding class. So that's what I want you to think about. If you do think you want to make an app, go back and revisit the first episode of Apéritif when we talked about creating an app prototype, a working app prototype in Keynote. And I think that will help you out a lot. So are we ready to get started? We have our dates and bacon, we have our sangria, and we are on to control flow. Before we start coding, though, we definitely need to make our snacks. So what I have here for our dates and bacon are medjool dates. You definitely want to use medjool dates. They are the best dates you will buy. So first you check to make sure there's no tops. Sometimes they come with a little stem on them. And you cut a small slice down the side and just pop the pit right out. You don't want to cut them totally in half.
The bacon I use is regular store-bought bacon. If you have a particular favorite, you can use that. This is just regular bacon from Whole Foods. I cut each strip in half. And as you notice here, I have just some pieces, some leftover pieces too of bacon, so they don't even need to be whole. I wrap the bacon carefully around each date, and I'm sticking them on a skewer. You can use toothpicks if you want to do it individually. That's certainly welcome, or you can use nothing. Then I put them on a baking sheet, and I pop them in a 400-degree oven for about 10 minutes or so until the bacon gets crispy. While we wait for our dates, let's get started with our sangria. I like to use Beaujolais wine as the base with triple sec, gin, LaCroix, and a mixture of fruit, oranges, lemons, limes, and apple. I let the fruit macerate in the wine. I add the gin, the triple sec, and the soda, and then I pour it over ice. Let's check our dates, shall we? Holy crabapple, those look phenomenal. So we're going to take these off the skewer and arrange them on the plate. One of the sauces I like to serve with this, don't tell anyone, but it's beurre blanc. Very good. All right, shall we get ready to code? Let's open up our book and go right to 1.4, which is control flow. So when you think about code and you think about any app that you use, you think about the decisions that the app has to make. For example, if you are signing in and you put your password and you have the incorrect password, what happens then? So that's all part of control flow. So what we're going to be thinking about today is how we use logical operators to understand and to tell your code what to do and what should be run as a result of an instance. So for example, if you have the wrong password, what's going to happen then? So we're going to look at conditionals. We're going to look at things like if statements, if else statements. I really encourage you to go to the Swift programming guide again and look through control flow. It gives a great explanation of the different logical operators and the different ways you use control flow when you are writing your code. Conditional statements are at the heart of control flow. They are the part of your code that are constantly checking to make sure that a condition is met or not, and if it is met, then something will happen. If it's not met, something else will happen. So conditional statements such as if statements or if else statements are checking to see if something is true or if something is false, and the result of that will determine what will happen with your code. So here's a list of logical operators. We have, let's see, the two equal signs is both sides must be the same. The exclamation point always means not. So there's a not equal. Value to the left is greater. Some of these you'll recognize from math. The ones to really look at are the two and signs. The left and the right must both be true for that condition to be met. The two straight lines are or. It's a conditional statement that shows that one of the two statements must be true. And then, as I said, an exclamation point means not. Logical operators can be combined to create Boolean values. Boolean values are values that are either true or false, so your code knows if it should be run or if something should be skipped. So you can see by these examples, you can get quite complex by using conditional statements. You can add a whole bunch of different lines of code that will tell you what to do if something happens, and they can get quite complex. So that's when we start thinking about switch statements and ternary operators, which are ways of making your code a little bit more concise and a little clearer. So I'd like you to read through this entire section. When you are finished, go back to your lab and take the control flow lab. We will do that shortly. We'll work on an exercise together. And then when you're done with all of that, don't forget to go back and take the quiz. So let's get started with the lab. So our first exercise is logical operators. So we are going to print out what we think the resulting value will be. So for number 1, we have 9, two equal signs, 9. So two equal signs means that the left and the right values must be equal. So do we think this is going to be true or false? Well, I think it's going to be true. So I'm going to print true. Then I'm going to ask for the result. So I'll ask it to print the statement. and see what the result of the statement is. And what is it? Oh, it's true. So we are in luck. So moving on to number 2. Now look at that logical operator, the exclamation point and equal. So it means 9 is not equal to 9. So we're going to print false, and then we're going to check. We'll have it print the actual statement and see what the result is. Again, I'm an awful typist. All right, we are correct again. So number 3, 47 is greater than 90. That is definitely false. So I'm going to print false, and then I'm going to check it by typing or making the result print out. So let's do another print. I'm just going to copy and paste. I'm getting lazy in my old age. Plus, I'm not a great typist, as I said. So we are correct again, false. So number 4, 47 is less than 90. True. Let's print the statement and see what happens. And we are correct. Again, copy and paste. And let's run it and see. Voila, correct. All right, so 4 is less than or equal to 4. So one of those has to be true. Is it less than 4 or equal to 4? Well, it's equal, so we're going to make this true. Now, if it said 4 is less than or equal to 3, that would definitely be false. We'll print out our statement, we'll print out our result, and let's check it. We are good. So we will go through all of these. Ooh, number 6. Okay, 4 is greater than or equal to 5. What do you think? False. Copy and paste again. Yes, excellent. All right, so now we're getting a little bit more complex. Number 7. 47 is greater than 90, and the 2 and signs means that both sides have to be equal. So 47 is greater than 90 and 47 is less than 90. Well, that couldn't possibly be true. So this statement must be false. So I'm going to try it out. I'm going to print false, and then I will print the statement and see what the result is. Actually, I should say I'll print the result of the statement. I'm not printing the actual statement, I'm printing the result. So we are correct with false. So number 8, again, let's see, 47 is greater than 90, and the 2 lines mean or. So 47 is greater than 90, or 47 is less than 90. So obviously 47 is less than 90, so one of those is true. So this entire statement would then be true. So we are going to then print out the result to test. And run it, and yes, I shouldn't say run, compile. All right, so number 9 says exclamation point true. Well, we know the exclamation point means not. So if something is not true, then it is what? False, definitely false. So let's print it out and see if we are correct. I believe we're going to be correct on this one. Oh, look at that. I put print not true, and it came out false. So excellent. So I'd like you to continue on with these exercises. The next one is if and if else statements, and then you will have your app exercise where you'll continue with your the fitness app that we're building. All right, so go ahead and get started. Don't forget to take the quiz when you're finished, and we'll see you soon. Just a reminder, all the resources for today's lesson, as well as past lessons, are located at getaflyingstart.com, app Apéritif. Thanks for joining Flying Start and me today to learn about control flow in Swift. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next time on App Apéritif.